Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew, man? We're back today. We gotta watch Mojo. Watch Mojo. Serial killers people try to warn us about. People always be warning people about stuff, and nobody listens, right?
Yeah.
Cause that'd be the sad situation if we got all these warnings, we got all these clues. Why are you looking over here?
Boy,
all in my business, but we get all these warnings, all these clues, and then you know what I'm saying. And people don't pay attention to it. They just, you know, like even like the Dahmer dude, bro. Literally, the boy came out butt naked, had holes screwed in his head. Already, delirious of what's going. Here, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the cops was called, and y'all could have shut the whole thing down right there. Now that's a crazy one.
That was.
But maybe we got some other things on this one, man. So with that being said, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go if you want to first support. All you gotta do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals,
like it on a thumbs up.
I wonder how many times how officers actually went into a home, right? And you go into these homes and you got all these serial killers, right? Mm-hmm. That's living there. I mean, that's living in these homes. Mm-hmm. But there has been bodies inside the homes. And y'all just be like the Lulu about it. You know?
Like overlook things.
Not even overlook, but don't even go about looking. Because like even in the Jeffrey situation. They went in there, the body was in there. And you just... Because it makes you feel awkward that you were going into a gay man house. You that awkward?
Yeah.
The fuck wrong with y'all? Let's go. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about.
Chicago police may have passed over crucial clues in the mass murder investigation.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're looking...
Peter, we don't want you. We want Rebecca, right? Miss Mojo, bring her back. I'm tired of all these men, bro. Y'all can't host it like she can.
Come on, Peter.
Various stories in which people tried to...
Not you give... I'm trying to be a y'all. All right.
I'm just saying,
I'm off for it. I'm off for it.
Peter working today. Let Peter work.
Bring Rebecca. I think that's her name. Bring Rebecca back. Miss Mojo.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're looking at various stories in which people tried to warn the authorities about budding or active serial killers.
You have to understand that detective work was organized in a very different way in the 70s.
Edmund Kemper.
Ed Kemper has been serving a life sentence in this California prison since 1973, when, at the age of 24, he murdered his mother, then called police and confessed to having dismembered college co-eds for 2 years.
Unlike many killers on this list, Edmund Kemper's tendency for violence was already known by the time he started actively serial killing. On August 27, 1964, 15-year-old Kemper shot and murdered his grandparents, Maud and Edmund. He called the police on himself and was taken to a psychiatric facility.
It started coming to a head again, so I went back down. I ran away back down there. And then a month later, I'm up living with my grandparents in the mountains, and 10 months later, I murdered them.
Inside, Kemper was a model prisoner and was eventually deemed both highly intelligent and rehabilitated. However, Kemper's psychiatrists were not convinced, arguing that he was not well and warning that further violence could occur should he be released. Their warnings were not heeded, and Kemper was paroled on his 21st birthday. This was December 1969. Less than 3 years later, between May 1972 and April 1973, Kemper would murder 8 more people, including his mother, Clarnell.
You see, Bill, I knew a week before she died.
I've watched parts of this little series right here, but I didn't watch the full thing. Bro,
at the age of 15, you kill your grandparents, right? At 21, you stronger, bigger now. You bigger and stronger now. Well, go ahead.
Grandparents.
Grandparents, yes. Your grandparents.
At 15.
At 15. You're
Yeah,
21 now. You're 21. They let you out and say, "Oh, he's."
That's like how old was she?
What did I say about that earlier? Go ahead.
I was just saying, how was the situation back home? The little girl killed the other little girl. 12. You know they try her as an adult. Mm-hmm. As an adult. But like I told you then, I said, what she did and how she covered it up. Do you put her in jail for the rest of your life?
And just like I didn't answer it then, I'm not gonna answer it now. Now he's 21 now, bigger and stronger, and y'all will be like, "Oh, he's right. Oh, he's intelligent. He's rehabilitated. He's good."
Those be the ones.
I'm like, right? Excuse? And then he went on to take 8 more lives
in 1 year. That's fast, bro. Including the mother.
Including his mother.
And he was chopping them up. Let's get back to it. Godly.
I was gonna kill her.
D'Angelo Martin.
We begin tonight with a sense of justice for 4 Detroit families whose loved ones were murdered.
Between 2018 and 2019, D'Angelo Martin murdered 4 people in the greater Detroit area. However, an extensive study performed by the Associated Press found that Detroit had been warned about Martin for nearly 2 decades. They claimed that for 15 years, the city's police bungled evidence linking him to various crimes, like losing a kit in 2004 that could have tied Martin to a sexual assault. They also ignored personal warnings and failed to properly handle DNA. One supervisor called it, quote, total systemic breakdown, and 2 officers were suspended for neglecting their duties. It's believed that should the proper precautions had been taken, Martin would have been caught before he killed anyone.
It's been a rough 3.5 years. Every day. Every day we think about Nancy.
Bruce MacArthur.
Seems like Detroit has a problem.
You already know what I was
Detroit has a pattern, a serious problem.
It might be Flint that ain't got the only city with the messed up water. There's some in the water of Detroit. And I'm talking about
with the system.
That's what I'm saying. Also, bro, I ain't like, because we've been following this case now. This Naziah Harris case. Following detail by detail by detail. And when I tell you so many balls are dropped.
So many.
And it's just shit after shit that keeps going on that I hear out of Detroit. I'm like, damn.
Yeah. That's sad.
And people are reporting crimes and nothing is being done.
Nothing is being done.
What the absolute? Because in her case, if y'all had follow up in 2015 when he first got out and locked his ass back up, she'll still be alive. Possibly. I don't know, but it's a strong. Even he was supposed to go to jail that day. If y'all just didn't lock his ass up that day, she'll still be alive. If y'all didn't lock him up for failing to register, she'll still be alive. So what the fuck is this? What is going on with the justice system? Like, why are we failing the community so bad?
And it's not just Detroit, but since that's what that was on, and we follow about that. Since that's what that was on, and Naziah Harris case is also in the same area.
But they ain't the only one though. I done seen.
I know. I come across certain things as well, but you could tell me later. But yeah.
But have you ever heard of dude D'Angelo? Now that's recent.
MacArthur averaged about 2 murders a year. Evidence shows that MacArthur's victims all had ties to Toronto's LGBTQ community.
Between 2010 and 2017, Bruce MacArthur terrorized the Church and Wellesley neighborhood of Toronto, killing 8 people. This neighborhood is well known for its LGBTQ activity, hosting Pride Toronto, and offering many bars and stores catered to the community. A PhD candidate named Sasha Reed warned police that a serial killer was likely active in the area. Nothing happened.
So we talked about the anxiety that is caused in people in terms of going into social situations or dating. We talk about the mental health issues that people are facing as a result of it, like with depression and anxiety.
Locals pleaded with police to investigate as a large number of gay men were disappearing. Again, not much happened. Many people blamed discrimination, as the victims were part of a marginalized community. A report written by Ontario Justice Gloria Epstein claimed that, quote, Toronto police lost important opportunities to identify him as the killer, often owing to their misconceptions or stereotypical ideas about the gay community.
I'm less curious about why he did what he did, and I'm more curious about how it happened for so long. And how, the community knew this was happening before the police, alerted us.
Peter Sutcliffe.
I wonder also, was the community targeted because he was an undercover in the community? You know what I'm saying? Kind of how Dahmer, he frequently floated in the community, and those are all his victims because that's what he was, but he wasn't able to freely live out his situation. I don't know, bro. But things like that happen, so. Yeah. Because they can't. But also, not only them being part of that community, most of them did look like they were possibly Muslims. I don't know their religious backgrounds, but they did look more Middle Eastern. You know what I'm saying? So that could have been a motive behind it as well. We don't know unless he comes out and say,
The serial killer, Peter Sutcliffe, known as the Yorkshire Ripper, has died in hospital at the age of 74. He had coronavirus.
Dubbed the Yorkshire Ripper, Peter Sutcliffe murdered at least 13 women between 1975 and 1980. Like MacArthur, he preyed on a marginalized community he knew would go unnoticed. In this case, sex workers. It was quite obvious, even from the beginning, that Sutcliffe was a serial killer. Dozens of people warned the Yorkshire police about Sutcliffe, including survivors, crime analysts, Sutcliffe's friend, Trevor Birdsall, and even the FBI.
And one of the top table officers said, is he a Geordie? No. What's his name? He said, Peter Sutcliffe. Now listen, boys. Peter Sutcliffe is not the Yorkshire Ripper.
In fact, Sutcliffe was interviewed 9 different times, but he was let go each and every time, thanks to horrible police work and a casual indifference towards sex workers. A report written by Inspector Lawrence Byford heavily criticized the Yorkshire police, leading to systemic changes in the country's investigative procedures.
They kind of thought that the women who were involved in the sex trade were asking for it in inverted commas, and they were much more interested in the innocent women.
Robert Pickton.
Robert Pickton was convicted in the...
That's crazy. So he was interviewed 9 times?
9 times. Y'all sit there and let him... That pisses me off when situations like that, you had them. You literally had them several times. Because we hear
multiple people told you that's who it is.
Yes. Yeah, his own friend came forward and said, hey, survivors. And y'all was, no, he can't be.
I guess he was that charming, huh?
Y'all let that man get in there and really,
I guess he was that charming. They said the same thing about Ted Bundy, right? He was just that charming. Damn.
Interested in the innocent women.
Robert Pickton.
Robert Pickton was convicted in the deaths of 6 women and believed to have killed dozens of other women. Now Canada's worst serial killer is dead, the result of injuries from an assault by another inmate at Port Cartier Institution in Quebec.
Perhaps Canada's most notorious serial killer, Robert Pickton killed at least 26 women, but he confessed to murdering 49. And the clues were there. A profiler named Kim Rossmo tried setting up an investigative unit to study disappearances in the Vancouver area and even attempted to warn the police that a serial killer was on the loose.
He admitted killing 49 women. We think that he killed probably closer to 100. He had absolutely no remorse. He brutalized the women.
However, these attempts were stopped by Inspector Fred Biddlecombe, supposedly to prevent the panic and political pressure that would result. Police were even receiving grotesque tips. An employee of Pickton's claimed that he was hoarding women's purses, and an anonymous tip declared that he had a freezer full of human remains at his farmhouse. Bizarrely, this nightmarish piece of information was completely ignored.
This story of Pickton is really a story of egregious police errors and public indifference.
Gary Ridgway.
You cannot... We already know about him. They call it, I think Baller did what he called it, the Piggy Place
Palace.
Piggy Palace Massacre. That's what they call it.
Errors and public indifference.
Gary Ridgway.
We know
You cannot forget. I can't forget. I don't think any of us will ever forget.
In Alaska?
The years we spent picking these bodies up.
Despite having an enormous body count, Gary Ridgway isn't as famous as some of the bigger names. Known as the Green River Killer, Ridgway was convicted of 49 murders, although it's possible that he committed more than 90. While he wasn't caught until 2001, he was a major suspect in the case for nearly 20 years.
Ridgway's name came up in a couple of different spots, and so a tip sheet was generated, and it was assigned to Matt Haney.
His name was mentioned all the way back in 1983, when the boyfriend of Marie Malvar found the truck she had disappeared in parked in front of Ridgway's house. Police were also receiving other tips mentioning Ridgway, leading them to arraign and interview him. However, he passed a polygraph and investigators were unable to link him to the killings, so he was freed and allowed to continue his spree.
I never had a thought that we weren't going to catch him. I just wondered how, when, and where. And I knew I wanted to be a part of it.
Dennis Rader.
I do think that's the one.
The Green River Killer?
Is that the one in Alaska?
I'm not sure where it's at, but I have heard of them, though.
Let me see. Green.
And honest, the polygraph thing is, to me, is for the birds. Because, say for instance, I was accused of something, and
I was solid. I don't know.
Say for instance, I was accused of something, and I get a polygraph. I'm gonna, and I know I didn't do it. 9 times out of 10, I may fail that thing. So the fact that he was a suspect and he did commit the murders, and he still passed it, don't worry about him.
It's in Washington. I know this for somewhere. Oh, they got a whole movie. I'm gonna have to go check that out. But you were saying what?
Nothing.
No, I'm just saying.
I already said it. It's nothing.
Famously known as BTK, Dennis Rader killed 10 people in the greater Wichita area between 1974 and 1991, often taunting the police with sordid letters. At the time, Rader was quite unassuming, known as a quiet and reserved security specialist working for ADT.
Here's the estimate. House looks good. Can't think you need much beyond door and window sensors. I included in the cost 3 keypads.
But as he aged, Rader became more outspoken and belligerent. Throughout the early 1990s, locals began having major problems with Rader, especially in his capacity as a strict compliance officer. He also became known for harassing women, and numerous victims filed restraining orders against him. One neighbor even alleged that Rader murdered her dog. The signs were there, but police did not dig deeper. If they did, they may have uncovered one of the country's most infamous serial killers.
Say who you are. You're BTK.
John Wayne Gacy.
And he should know right away something wrong. If Gacy don't want to talk to him, something wrong right there.
Area 6 youth officers considered Butkovich a runaway.
By all accounts, John Wayne Gacy was a friendly and popular man who was active in his Chicago community. But some people tried speaking out against him, specifically Marko Butkovich. Marko's son, John, was working for Gacy's construction company, PDM Contractors, when he disappeared in 1975.
Hey, look at me. I'm going to show you a trick.
Butkovich was reportedly having problems with his boss, having confronted him over unpaid wages. So when his car showed up with his jacket and wallet still inside, Marko suspected Gacy of murdering his son. He and his wife, Teresia, called the police over 100 times over the next 3 years, urging them to investigate and question Gacy. They did not. Butkovich was Gacy's third victim, third of 33.
If they follow those things, investigation, maybe Johnny only be dead. Only Johnny, maybe rest will be unalive.
Ted Bundy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Y'all, that's
suck.
So fucked up, bro.
Y'all absolutely suck.
And what we watched, and we watched something, and dude was talking about how he interacted with. We didn't react to that, did we?
We didn't react to
how
it.
he encountered John in Kentucky. No, I showed you because I watched it, and then I ended up showing you. And how he said he has came across him twice.
Yeah.
And then he said first time when he was a kid, and then the second time when he was like a little older.
Like a teenager?
Well, yeah, like 17, 18.
Yeah.
He said he encountered John twice, but he almost became one of his victims because he had trapped him in a
hotel.
In a hotel room. Yeah.
And then the second time he came across him, he act like John.
John act
like he didn't remember him and stuff like that. But yeah.
But he was like, I remember you. And he was kind of more aggressive with him at that time. But again, like I said, they're the only victims y'all know about. I think John actually had way more victims. From hearing certain stories and hearing that like different places he vacated.
You think he had him in other states?
Yeah,
the other states he were
like visited and vacation at. He had other victims. They just
especially for that situation of him telling his story happened in a different area than where all the other ones were found at. So you were one in that area that got away, luckily. Mm-hmm. But who's to say that he didn't?
Because he was coming back.
You know what I'm saying?
And they said there were plenty of people who came up missing or who had supposedly drowned. They consider it drowning. And they, come on now.
Yeah.
Mr. Ted Bundy, you've been involved in how many homicides?
Oh, we came up with 30.
Despite his infamy, Ted Bundy was quite a sloppy serial killer. Many people survived his attacks. He was jailed on numerous occasions, and friends and acquaintances had long suspected him of being a killer. A rash of murders occurred on the West Coast throughout 1974. A composite sketch and a criminal profile describing the perp were made public, and numerous people immediately recognized it as Bundy.
There was something about it that just grabbed my attention. And there was just something about the jawline or something like that that made me think, wow.
And you called Seattle police?
Yeah, I called anonymously.
That includes two of Bundy's co-workers, a professor at the University of Washington, and even his girlfriend, Elizabeth Klopfer. All went to the police and told them that Bundy was their man. However, investigators were not convinced and ignored their statements, as Bundy was a respectable law student with no criminal record, a wolf in sheep's clothing.
There was something like 3,000 potential Teds who may or may not drive a Volkswagen, and he was one of them. But he had this terrific, spotless, clean record.
Before we continue, be sure...
A lot of times, those be the ones who are committing the crime.
Right, and just because they don't have a record doesn't mean that we exclude them out. You know what I'm saying?
What's the difference between a criminal and one that's not a record?
Like, what is the difference? Right.
That's the only difference.
He just hasn't been caught.
So, yeah, until y'all catch him, he won't have a record.
Right.
Anybody can get away with anything until they get caught and get a record.
And if you look at somebody, he's a stand-up guy. Oh, he's in school. He's going to be a lawyer. He
learned how to get away.
Right.
How to get away with murder.
To settings and switch on your notifications. Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, hey.
I gotta say, that smell is worse than ever.
Is it? Well, I had that meat that went bad.
People who watched Monster may have thought that the character of Glenda Cleveland was made up, a sort of composite character made to represent all the people that tried alerting the police about Dahmer. But no, she was very real. Cleveland, her daughter, and her niece all contacted police to warn them about Dahmer, even alerting them to the scary incident involving Conoric synthesomephone.
Okay, but the boy is bleeding. Y'all gonna do something?
I told you he fell over.
The young man was famously returned into Dahmer's care and murdered. After learning that synthesomephone had disappeared, Cleveland made repeated calls to the police and even contacted the FBI. All of these calls were ignored. Dahmer murdered 4 men after synthesomephone, Cleveland's alarm bells having been totally unheard.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just, it appears to have been a child. That's my concern.
I understand. No, he's not.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Do you know of any other examples? Let us know in the comments below.
I'm an American, and I went off the deep end.
You went off the deep end?
What the fuck he mean by that shit?
What does that even mean? You killed your grandparents and your mother and eight other people. Well, 7 other people. 8 including your mother, but whatever.
What the fuck they supposed to mean?
No, whatever. But you know what I mean. And I wonder, was it more? But yeah. What does that mean? But maybe I'm the... Never mind. That's crazy.
Beyond. Y'all spam us up in the comments, man. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts about it for us in the comment section down below. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We are
Kid and C.
No.
Yeah, I know, right?
I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We are
Kid and C.
We out.
Peace.
Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from